Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the mic with Mike. It is the premier business radio program around. I'm the host, Mike King. Proud to have you here. We are here at Gathering Hem. The program is on ESPN Richmond. That's from 5 to 7 a.m. We talk about business, life, and everything in between. We talk to business owners and game changers who are out there. I'd like to thank the women of RVA, Women Speaking Sports RVA. You can hear that program on Friday, ESPN 6:30 a.m. And they talked about sports. They talked about sports. They talked about TB12. They talked about lawsuit. They talked about upcoming Super Bowl. So Mike King is here. I'm just out there minding my business. And I see this dynamic couple who's out there making a difference in the community, whether it's business counseling, coaching, things of that nature. I bring you the Hall family. Welcome to the program, folks.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mike.
for having us, Mike.
Yeah, good
All
to be
right,
here.
now, we're going to start with you first.
Okay.
And tell us what you do. And then because your name came up to me before the Mister's name came up, because we were trying to connect
Right,
a while ago.
because I won, you had offered a free commercial,
And that's when,
and I won it, and I was hollering and screaming, and I never could get in touch with you.
and then all of a sudden, somebody tells me, ladies trying to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
And we talk, but then I'm talking to your husband. I don't know how that happened,
Yeah, we did talk briefly, and I sent you an email.
because I was in the car. And I'm,
Yep, you got it. You're a busy man. It's
no,
all right.
don't believe that.
Right.
So what like with Mike, we're here with us. So let us know the business that you have.
Yeah, so I'm Coach Yolanda Hall, and I'm the owner of Unbreakable Minds Youth Life Coaching. And we coach young people ages 15 to 25. Definitely want to focus on the high school, college age, and those newly adulting. So the ones that come straight out of college and go right into life. And so we just help them to overcome the negative mental narrative that they have that is keeping them from being great. You know how a lot of times you hear young people say, they just won't let me be great. And so,
That is true.
you know what I'm saying? And they put the responsibility on everybody else when it's really about them and controlling their mindset and being able to remove that limited thinking and live life with purpose on purpose.
But you're out there talking to a lot of young people. How's this affecting them with the pandemic? And like, how are people doing in the streets?
Right, so with the young people, you know, isolation was a big deal in the beginning because, you know, it was like they were being locked up or chained up, you know, it was like you were just fearful of going out. So it was a lot of fear, a lot of isolation, trying to figure out how to keep busy. You know, a lot of them were doing really bad in school,
Right?
you know, and so it was just like, you know, I have to be here. I don't even really want to, like, learning virtually is not my MO. And so you got me in here trying to learn on this computer. I'm not connected with the teacher. I'm not connected with anybody. And so I'm just going to turn my camera off and just do whatever I'm doing. And kids who were straight A students, you know, ended up with D's and F's. And, you know, at that point, they had bigger things to worry about. So they wasn't really stressing about the grades, you know? And so that was different, you know?
And how, so now that we're moving out of that, we're moving back into some sense of normalcy. How are they doing now?
I tell you, the consistency, the schedule, them being able to have some routine, they're really flourishing, and they're thriving, and they're flourishing, and they are having that connection again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the grades are coming back up. It's almost miraculous.
It's funny, so I guess young people do bounce back. They do bounce back after going through something that is pretty traumatic.
Right, and I like to say bounce forward, you know,
There you
because you're
go.
never gonna be the same.
No, you're not
After
gonna-
something like
No
this.
matter how old you are, you're not gonna be, you know, when we're talking about back in the day, you're gonna remember these as high school years, junior high school years, and how did life affect them? So you always wanted to counsel young people?
No.
Okay,
Right. So I came to college here in Richmond, and I wanted to be a pediatrician. And so I was at Virginia Union, and I was a biology major. And for 2 years, I was there. And because I didn't know what I didn't know coming into college, going into my junior year, I didn't feel prepared. And so I said, okay, maybe I need to switch schools. And so I went to VCU. And when I went to VCU, they looked at my credits and they looked at my classes I was taking. And they were like, it's gonna take you an extra year and a half to graduate. So, I thought about it a little bit and I changed my major. And I got a psychology degree, because that's one of those degrees. No offense, because my husband and I both have psychology degrees, but it's a good foundation. But when you come out of college with a psychology degree, it's like, what's next? You have to have a plan A plus or a plan B. And so I had to go back to graduate school. And when I went back, I remembered my school counselor. And my school counselor in elementary, middle, high school, they were all the bomb. They always looked out for me. They had my best interests. I just was able to relate to that. And so I went to school to become a school counselor, and I did that for 15 years before becoming a coach.
Because one of the great things about, I'm sorry, we're gonna get to you, we're gonna get to you in a minute, but it's good stuff right here. So, one of the things that people always remember, the two people in school that seems like they stand out. One is the phys ed teacher, the gym teacher. They were different than everybody else.
Right.
And the counselor.
The
counselor was different because they were like a teacher, but they were like your friend telling you the things that, you needed to help you.
That's right.
And so you saw that as a model and you became that person.
Yes, and they listen. That's the main thing. They listen. Because young people, a lot of times, they have a hard time finding people who will listen and really value what they have to say. And if you stop and listen to young folks, you will find out they really have a lot to say.
So that psychology degree was working.
Absolutely.
That was working. I think it was like, yeah, okay. All right, one of Mike ESPN Richmond. That's where we are. We're coming to you from the fabulous Hilton Hotel. We are gathering him. We're here every Wednesday talking to business folks, business life, everything in between. We're here with the Halls right now. So Mr. Hall. Oh, before Ms. Hall, we got to get to you. Shout out to all the DSTs out there because I got in some trouble a couple weeks ago because my sister, I didn't shout out all the Deltas on Founders Day.
Oh yeah, that was a mistake.
She took it personal. Yes.
Mhm.
So congratulations on that, you guys. So I just had to get that out the way.
Yes.
So now we can move on.
Thank you. Yeah. Shout out to all my sorors.
Exactly. We got Dr. Danny with her. She's an AKA, but we ain't gonna say that. We're not gonna say that. All right, Mr. Hall, straight out of Philly, like me.
Yeah.
Married a New Yorker, like me.
Yeah.
All righty, sir, you're out there doing big things, changing the world. I see you out there doing business. Let's talk about what you see in the streets, how people are doing, the young folks out there right now, and let us know about your business.
So first of all, once again, thank you for having us on, Mike. We appreciate the platform. Thank you for sharing resources. And shout out to everyone out there who's been supporting us. And I gotta shout my alpha. So gotta shout out
to my man Blue Jackson. Yes, he is. Him and your boy YB.
Yeah. So shout out to YB Connect. But yeah, so what is like the climate right now? There's a lot of trepidation in terms of what's the next move, and when you're talking elementary going to middle to high school, there's a lot of uncertainty out there in terms of what I'm gonna do, how do I fit in. It's a lot of rediscovering themselves, trying to get a feel for who they are. So that's what I've been encountering and experiencing as I work with these young men, day to day. And it's been awesome to see them be bold though in terms of seeking to become their best selves, just trying to get a roadmap to do that.
Because you don't roll by yourself. A lot of times, so you're rolling my man Coach Hicks.
Yes.
I see Vinny Blanco. Shout out to him. I saw him yesterday. And those are guys who are out there really making a difference in the community.
Yes.
When you talk about mental health, there's only one person to talk about mental health. And so, you look at that and you guys are really doing some great work out there. Let's talk about when the young boys see you, all of a sudden they look like, he looks like us. And there's a possibility to go Philly, Richmond, it doesn't matter, the inner city's the inner city. How do you take that, become the person who's talking, making a difference?
Yes. So I think you have to have at least a vision and a desire to become better. That's where it starts first intrinsically. And then you have to be intentional about connecting to people in terms of making yourself better. And it means taking a lot of risks, a lot of rejection, a lot of uncertainty. But I think that's where you start. And then what I truly believe in the laws of attraction, I think my wife will co-sign to this, that when you truly start looking for folks to level, that want to level up like you, God starts to put them in your path.
That's
But
right.
you just have to have an open heart and mind, because they may not look how you may think they look. I'll give you an example. Now, this is a little bit of Jason's space, but when we met, we wasn't looking to get married. You know, we didn't know what love looked like in terms of what it would be like when it gets our lives. But here we are. So thank God we both were humble enough to receive it. But that translated into the coaching and mentoring space as well.
One of the parts that you had talked about before when we had first met was there was somebody who saw something in you.
Yes, yes.
So when you out there and you're talking, you know, you get the kids who don't want to listen, they don't want to hear it. And all of a sudden you see the light come on in that one. You're like, yeah, what I'm doing is really making a difference. Let's talk about when you find that one.
So I use a gentleman I'm working with now. He was 17, he just turned 18. And what you have to do is ask those probing questions and have those uncomfortable discussions. And I'll give you an instance. It was a bullying situation, but he made a conscious choice to still go to school in spite of the social stigma that was attached. And to put it in context, it was something that was done wrong to him by a popular kid. So naturally, kids would gravitate towards the popular person and make him the antagonist when he wasn't. But what he had to do was look aside and say, you know what, I did nothing wrong. So seeing that light come on when previously he was doubting himself was big. And I'd be remiss if I didn't give credit to his mother, the counselor who worked with him, as well as therapists, because it's about partnering the whole village.
That's what we're talking about. So Jay-Z said it's a long way from Madison, Marcy to Madison Square.
Yeah.
It's a long way from Chambersburg to Richmond. And there's a lot of steps along the way. Somebody saw something in you, you go from Pennsylvania to Richmond, you're talking to people, you're opening up avenues for people that they didn't have an idea existed. It didn't even exist. So now all of a sudden you're here talking to them, talking about opportunities. So when they see you guys as a married couple, that's another thing that really
Yeah, that's a whole different
Let's
dynamic.
talk about that part of it.
Yeah.
As a married couple. How long you been married?
15 years.
Hey, y'all veterans, y'all way down there. Go ahead, congratulations. So when people see you, is I saw you shout her out when you did the live, you're like, yo, my wife's sitting in the back right there.
Always. My biggest supporter.
That's what you're supposed to do, how you make it happen.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the success of that. People are just going into relationship. What's the tricks? Like, what's the number one thing or a couple things to be successful?
One thing I'll say is when you walk in with too many expectations about how things are supposed to be, that makes it difficult, you know? And so when you can just be present and just be there, enjoying the love and growing together, then I think that makes a big difference. And I can't say that it's always been like that. You know, in the beginning, I had my expectations and he had his expectations. We grew up in totally different environments, you know, and we saw, like in our families, we saw different models of what marriage is supposed to look like. And so us coming in, we had our own expectations. And until we were able to get rid of those expectations and say, we're going to be on a fresh start and we're going to work together and love each other regardless and see what comes out of it, then we began to grow as a couple. And everywhere we went, we were like the power couple. And we didn't even know it till people started telling us.
How long did it take before you guys really started getting that feel like, okay, we're starting to move in the right direction?
I'm gonna take a gamble and say, and I'm gonna just put myself in front of you. I had to mature a lot more in terms of not just designing my expectation, but being open to listen and being open to growth, and not being set at my single-mindedness in terms of being stubborn. So that was the first key. I say about year between 7 and 9 is when like the revelation became real true. Like, you know what, this is the woman I love. We gotta make this work because we want each other. It wasn't like we had to like shackle, like we want to prosper together. And at the end, that's what made me make the decision. You know what? I need to be totally invested.
All right, on the mic with Mike, let people know how they can find you.
So Yolanda Hall, Unbreakable Minds Youth Life Coaching. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Unbreakable Minds Coaching. And my email is coaching@unbreakableminds.org. And you could give us a call at 804-495-1282. That's 804-495-1282.
And you can find me at Blue Collar Solutions on all platforms on FB, Instagram, as well as LinkedIn and Twitter. And you'll see my digital card, business card in my bio. You can hit me up, my phone number's there, my email is there. So at Blue Collar Solutions across every platform. Thanks.
And I'm also real quick on Linktree. And Linktree has some amazing resources. So on Linktree at Unbreakable Minds Coaching as well.
On the mic with Mike, ESPN Richmond, that's where we are, 5 to 7 a.m. I'd like to thank the hall for coming in. You guys are gonna be back again. We're gonna be back in studio. The last time you did it when we were on, we did the virtual, but we're gonna be back in the ESPN studios. I would like to thank you guys for tuning in on the mic with Mike, best business radio program around. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having us. Yes, it's awesome.